Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Convention with the Witty Comic Book Roundup. We've covered some of this week's books, and now we're wrapping up this week's Marvel superhero books. Not quite wrapping up Marvel books, with just superhero stuff. Kicking things off, we've got Daredevil and Echo, number 2. Where we left off, our titular duo were investigating some odd crimes occurring in Hell's Kitchen when they encountered Demogoblin, the now demonically possessed Shriek. Meanwhile, in the 1830s, an ancestor of Daredevil's, Tommy Murdoch, was working with a native woman, presumably an ancestor of Echo's, about investigating a string of similar murders in what is now Hell's Kitchen. We briefly open at the Wyndon School in Herald Square. Young boy is being taunted by some of his classmates about his mother killing someone. At the church, Daredevil and Echo are dealing with Demogoblin. And, well, it's more trying to deal with her while she deals with Ben. But, Demogoblin ends up taking Shriek, and so Daredevil gives chase. Before Daredevil can give chase, however, Demogoblin drops Echo. In the past, at St. Matthew's, Tommy Murdoch and his group, including Woman Creeping Death, have entered appears to be a hidden chamber underneath St. Matthew's Church, discovering a demonic cult, planning to open a door to allow or to summon a demon known as the Blind One. Back in the present in Jersey City, Demogoblin appears to Lior, the young boy from earlier. He is apparently I would guess son of Russian immigrants and a metalhead. Good taste in music. But Demogoblin apparently felt his pain from the depths of hell and has an offer for Lior. Daredevil and Echo have opted to see if maybe Doctor Strange can help him, though the Doctor is not in. And Daredevil goes to the Church of Sacred Heart of Jesus, and presumably in Hell's Kitchen, talks to the priest asking about records of St. Matthew's, as apparently the records are stored there. Apparently there was a fire at St. Matthew's in the 1830s, which claimed Tommy Murdoch's life. Back in 1835, the cult that is utilizing the church's catacombs opts to make Tommy sacrifice for the Blind One. Creeping Death actually states that it's probably best if he does do so, if he does so willingly. That way she can stop the Blind One up. The Blind One. Back in the present, Daredevil and Echo note young Lior carrying a paper bag, which would presumably have bloody body parts in it. He enters the abandoned St. Matthew's. However, his entrance summons forth yet another supernatural force, the Ghost Rider. And that is where the issue ends. This is definitely getting interesting. I mentioned this with the first few. I like the concurrent storylines. They're clearly connected in the manner of, you know, an ancestor of Matt's as well as a presumed ancestor of Echo's. Of note, also in the issue is that when Daredevil hears of Tommy Murdoch, he reflects on what he knows from his family of Tommy Murdoch. Apparently, he was sort of a black sheep, not well regarded within the family over the years. But anyway, moving on though to our next book, we've got Ghost Rider number 15. Where we left off, Johnny and Talia Warroad were dealing with, well, the Infernal Labs Unleashed version of Johnny's brother Danny. However, the scientist responsible for loosing Danny, the spirit of malice, I should say, or not malice, but corruption. She has an armor that she's set up that appears to be designed for use with. It appears to be designed to withstand the brunt of the spirit of vengeance. But Johnny and Talia have arrived at Infernal Labs when there's a massive explosion of mystical power. Going through the wreckage, Johnny and Talia find Danny seemingly dead, with an explanation being that basically being connected to the spirit of corruption and before that spirit of vengeance so long, well, it's not being connected to one is potentially fatal for Danny. It also turns out that the armor that the not-so-good doctor made was intended to harness the spirit of corruption, so she could go into hell and retrieve the soul of her brother, who had been possessed by a demon years ago and died. But Talia states the only thing that can save Johnny appears to be returning the spirit to him. And so Talia and Johnny kiss, and Johnny heads for the portal at Infernal Labs into hell. Of course, having to deal with his former subjects not being entirely happy to see him, while our not-so-good doctor is making her way through, hunting down her brother. But the spirit of corruption is not necessarily wanting to do her bidding, but she does manage to find the soul of her brother. Apparently, the demon possession is still, the demonic possession is still in effect of her brother's soul, and, well, he attacks his sister. Meanwhile, Johnny is able to track down the spirit of corruption, and somewhat to a point join with it. Returns from hell and returns the spirit of corruption to Danny, and the two are reunited. And that is where the issue ends. The start's been pretty solid. Well, the books in general have been solid. It's one of my favorites to read, but I am kind of biased as a long-time Ghost Rider fan. I'm glad that I'm honestly glad that Danny is coming back as quickly as he is, because I like Johnny and Danny together. Ed Brisson's run a few years ago dealt a lot with the both of them, namely Danny somewhat dealing more with the idea that at the time Johnny was king of hell. I think that actually led to the end of Johnny's reign. Anyway, moving on though to our next book, we go from the streets to the stars with Silver Surfer Ghostlight, number 5. Where we left off, the inner faction of the Stranger's Psyche was helping Silver Surfer and Ghostlight, Surfer's old friend Al Matthews. But the Stranger, as well as the enhanced Dr. Somber Solomon, had come to Earth to reclaim reclaim Al. And so Al and the Surfer fight off, and the inner faction fight off the Stranger and his minions. But Dr. Solomon ends up doing to her former comrades at AIM what was done to her, to go after the Matthews family. Al's niece and nephew realize something's coming, and they developed would seem a slight degree of cosmic power. But Al and Silver Surfer are able to keep the Stranger and his minions distracted enough so that Al's niece and nephew can activate the machine that he has. And the Stranger is defeated through the power of improvisational jazz. Coltrane, to be exact. Or Alison John Coltrane, to be exact. And so, the inner faction manages to take dominance within the Stranger's psyche. The Stranger, as well as Sombra, opt to find a planet for the Stranger to repopulate the Gigantians. Al saves his family. Surfer goes back into space, though stating he'll make a point to come by once a year. With Al is also studying doing what he can to help his niece and nephew with their newfound abilities and figure out how they work. That said, due to his own abilities, he no longer finds himself ever hungry, but he does enjoy the company. After 3 months, Al heads up to Chicago and reunites with his ex-wife, who has since moved on. She has a new partner, a man named Orlando. And Al, who's been wondering what the light was that brought him back brought him back to the land of the living, discovers what that light was. The light of his son, Sean. And that is where the series ends. This was a good book. I liked it. I'm not a huge Silver Surfer fan, but I will admit it is nice to see him being somewhat returning to prominence. I get why over the last 20 years or so he hasn't been as prominent in Marvel Comics, because movie rights. Don't want to advertise An IP that another studio has the rights for, right? Anyways, moving on though to our last book for the moment, we've got Warlock Rebirth number 3. Where we left off, Adam Warlock, having been defeated by Eve Warlock and having the soul gem taken by her, was comatose, and so Gamora, Pip the Troll, and Genus Vell took him to Doctor Strange in the hopes that he might be able to help. Doctor Strange managed to track down his soul to Soul World, and well, though Adam was at peace there, didn't want to leave. So Soul World tried to get Doctor Strange to leave. In deep space, we have what seems to be a Kal-El situation. Planet's about to be destroyed, and the couple are about to place their child into a rocket when Eve Warlock appears and does what she can does what is necessary to save their planet. In the Soul World, Doctor Strange deals with the forces of the inhabitants of Soul World arrayed against him, and he and Adam talk, and Strange is able to convince Adam that reclaiming the soul gem is what he needs to do. So they return, and they know what it is Adam knows what he has to do, is to find Eve Warlock and take the soul gem back. Adam is introduced to Genus Vell, stating that any kin of Mar-Vell is an ally worth having. However, there's a slight problem. Adam doesn't know where Eve Warlock is. And while he means to do this alone, he can't. So, Pip the Troll goes with him to basically play in taxi. They find Eve on a remote world, and Adam and Eve fight it out. There appears to be a giant explosion, and both are gone, with Pip wondering what the hell happened to him. And that is where the issue ends, and that is going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Mastodon, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.